Hello, welcome to the webinar. I'm Danielle, your host. This is a Future Ready Business. Why bother? So unfortunately, Paolo is not here with us today. He's had to go to Glasgow to sort out his visa or passport or something, but he will be available for the in-person training that we are going to talk about. So let's get started. Why bother? So where are you now? Maybe you're a leader that is starting to feel that conflict, that pressure between economic, environmental, and social agendas. You're trying to meet every target, and costs are rising even more so now with another war. Global crises are impacting our delivery on our business goals. So the result is you're struggling to meet those goals, the stakeholder expectations, and it's affecting your business success. Maybe, like many leaders, you're finding it just harder to attract the harder to attract the best talent and retain them in your team so that you can succeed. Potentially, you're struggling to respond to tenders. The requirements are increasing and increasing. So it's difficult to respond to these things that maybe you're not familiar with, like carbon reduction action plans and climate adaptation. These are not terminology that you're familiar with. And, in order to keep your business winning work, you need to be able to answer these requests for tender. So environmental and social issues are increasing. So that's really becoming more of an expectation from the stakeholders. And possibly you're just feeling that Earth, that maybe your business is having impacts on the planet that you don't want to leave as your legacy. You want to protect the future for your children, your grandchildren. So where do you want to be? Oh, visualize yourself at your next board meeting. The room is energized, the strategy is clear, the team is aligned, financially strong, and there's purpose, and your future ready. Now imagine that you're being interviewed by the Chamber of Commerce and you've taken ambitious action to protect your business and you're really proud to share that story with them, and the interviewer is just lit up by the way that you are confidently telling that story, how you've built your business to engage in this thriving economy. And picture a time when things, the short-term plan and the long-term plan are aligned and you are just clear what your stakeholders, your employees, and the wider ecosystem that your business engages with. Everything's just lined up and it feels so much more clear, the direction that you're taking. Or just envisage a future where you're on that clean, pollution-free beach with your grandchildren and you can feel genuinely that you contributed to protecting their future. And they ask you, what did you do when you were working, Granny or Grandpa? And you can tell them how you engaged in protecting their future. So how are you going to get there? Well, I believe you'll get there by incorporating a regenerative mindset into your leadership. Like, think of it like adding some seeds to your garden. We need to replenish from our extractive economy so far. So what do I mean by a regenerative mindset? I mean putting purpose at the center of operations so that you can position your business to thrive with strong relationships and build upon any culture of continuous improvement that you already have, so that you really include environmental and social priorities as well. A regenerative mindset helps you to do good while doing well and prepare your business for the future to be profitable and maybe impactful. So why is a regenerative mindset important? We're living in a time when the choices we make as leaders define the future of our planet, our people, and our prosperity. So the science is really clear. The National Emergency Briefing held in November was 10 experts on biodiversity, economy, food security, climate change. They presented to Parliament the state of the latest on those topics. so that those decision makers were up to speed. Now that information is available to others. There was also a report earlier this year about the biodiversity system collapse and the consequences of that on our economy and our lives. We have a duty to act. If we're protecting our business for the future, we need to protect its income streams, its resources, its workforce. We've got that fiduciary duty to take care for our business. And it's organizations like ours that will have the potential to lead the direction for the economy. Not just about being compliant and competitive, but credible for the future, embedding some planet positive behavior so that we can future-proof the business. And for your people, it's about creating a culture that they can see has purpose, it innovates and lead like that so that you inspire your team and make a sustainable impact on the future. Now, leadership itself has been evolving so that we leaders are looking to have more purpose in their work, so that they feel like they're actually creating a successful presence with their roles. And that's just a shift in generational thinking. It's a realization of the state of the world that we're in. And we are being watched by critical eyes. So even if you're shining light on, how you comply with things, if you're not really embedded and looking after the future, you might be working in legal boundaries, but not being completely invested in this, then everyone is so critical about how we are looking after our business and each other. So definitely it makes sense to not do any greenwashing or to be transparent about how we conduct our business. So, and just doing nothing is no longer an option. So why now? Well, more and more businesses and leaders are having that purpose epiphany. People are looking to, it's called the Intelligent Era. World Economic Forum have claimed this era that we're in at the moment, where human behavior can either elevate humanity or potentially fracture it. And that is, what we're seeing in the world at the moment, the rising crisis, the inequality, the system breakdown. Which way are we going to play this out? And never before has there been an era where more businesses can take action. We have actually SMEs making up 99% of the economy. So the world is changing. We've got fragile supply chains and rising costs. So this is a perfect time to take action and protect our businesses. Every business, large or small, has a role to play in creating the future that we want. It's not something that we can just push on to the future generations. We need leadership now to take action. My children are still at secondary school. By the time they've gone through university, it's going to be too late. They're not going to be in leadership positions for some time. We are the leaders that are in place now. We can take effective action to protect the future. And the good news is the technology's there. It's been innovative. The price has come down. The scale of rollout of many innovations, it's just increasing day by day. The accessibility to solutions to move to renewable energy or reduce our dependence on carbon. So how do we go about this transformation? How do we move from awareness to action and from knowing what needs to change into actually embedding it in the DNA of your business? Well, myself and Paolo have a little training course that's coming up. It's got 3 real kind of key components to it. The first one being about being informed, moving into how to incorporate that as a competitive advantage, and then building in resilience because the world is already changing. So I'm going to run you through what does that mean? Well, the problem I see is that businesses and leaders are caught up in that day-to-day firefighting. They're focused on the local and short-term targets and potentially lose sight of the bigger picture. The aftermath of this really is that it's hard maybe to deliver on all of your contract commitments. You're caught out by extreme weather events and the rising costs, just compromising the ability to deliver on your commitments. Getting informed. So we are incorporating this with a existing accreditation set one-day content through the Carbon Literacy Project that brings you up to certified carbon literate status. So it's about understanding what carbon emissions is, what that impact is on your business, and what your carbon consumption is having on the planet. So, and then you can prioritize where to focus your resources for the greatest impact going forward. Like many businesses have gone through this training. We've got now 920 training professionals delivering this course. 12,000 organizations have engaged with it. Their courses are tailored. So this is specifically the SME training that we are delivering as part of our 2-day offering. The advantage of this is that you get to calculate what your footprint is. You know, we're not going to go into full level detail of a business carbon footprint, but we'll take an individual one so that you can see how this relates. We'll talk about the business impacts from materials, transport, energy consumption. We'll show you how to develop this into a carbon reduction action plan, how to engage your team on this and potentially even your supply chain, and then how to monitor and move forward with this. Making commitment to reduce, because that's what we need to do to protect the planet, and rebalance any potential offsets that we can't resolve because everyone's business have an impact as we move towards net zero, which is a government countrywide commitment to help reduce carbon emissions. And you'll hear all about the reasons why that's important. Now, many businesses don't know their carbon footprint or their resource footprint even. So it's not just about carbon. Obviously, we have a water and other natural resource impact. So it's a bit like burying your head in the sand, I'm afraid. If you don't know what your footprint is, then you are probably not actively managing that emissions or water use or wastage. Now, without this insight, maybe there's missed opportunities. You could be saving money. You could be reducing waste. You could be saving money. So it's a bit like burying your head in the sand and just ignoring the information. So competitively, this is important for us to understand. If this is a countrywide commitment, if it's a compliance requirement on the larger businesses, and we potentially deal with them, we're a supplier to them, we are part of their scope 3 emissions, we are looking to work with Public Contract Scotland, and they, through the government, are pushing for more and more understanding and commitment to change. So to continue to be competitive, to continue to meet what our stakeholders are expecting from us, we need to incorporate some important topics. Now, the advantage of this is that by identifying where your impacts are, you're being part of a bigger global mission. So the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals has commitments specifically around responsible business practices, consumption, production, how we reduce inequalities, and how we protect the planet. So being able to respond to those requests for tender becomes progressively more of a competitive need. So you could be getting ahead of your competition by at least understanding what this topic is all about and how to respond to it. Now, the next topic we need to cover is the planet is already changing. So many organizations are unprepared for climate adaptation. We've already seen just down the road from me, storms, flooding businesses, roads being taken out of action due to extreme rainfall. And it might sound funny in Scotland, but rising temperatures is an issue. If you have temperature controlled environments, you have workforce that are suffering when it's extremely hot, then this can have real consequences for you. Now, we've seen extreme heat in England, we've seen extreme rain here, even overnight. Last night, my power went off because of wind here. So if we have power interruptions, we make potentially insurance claims, we could end up with stranded assets. It escalates. So there's things that we maybe need to do to protect our businesses. Building in that resilience so that we can take tangible actions to prepare for the future of more extreme weather events. Preparation is key, isn't it? Having a plan B for your business, taking action so that you are prepared in case of that emergency. It's always good to have preparedness in place and risk management in place. So that's about our people, our premises, and protecting our profit. So next steps. By now you might be thinking, well, okay, but how do I learn all this great stuff? So we're operating a training course here. It's called the Future Ready Business Training. It is running in April, both in Aberdeen and Dundee. And that's me. I'm an engineer, and I think that we should have some people planet protection going on, some PPE. So I talk about planet positive engineering. So this is a unique experience. This we've just finished a training this week, myself and Paolo. It was the carbon literacy component of what we're talking about for April. And it was good fun. We had a full training complement in the room, and we also had some people online. This is what it looks like. It's training in a room. We are going to be running this in-person event, 2 days in Aberdeen and 2 days in Dundee in April. We can do it online for future training if people are interested in that. But at the moment, what we're trying to do is get people in a room to get this conversation started. So the trainers, that'll be myself. I'm a practitioner with the Sustainability Professionals Institute. I'm a founding member of Climate Express, which is another way of having these climate conversations. I'm a facilitator of carbon literacy. I also am a fellow of the Royal Society of Arts and Commerce, and I'm a small business. I'm a member of the FSB. I'm a member of the local Chamber of Commerce and of AREG, talking about renewable energy. So for me, this is really vitally important. I've studied it, and I want to cascade the learning to others. This is me speaking about this at a RBS business breakfast, and also at the Retrain Expo down in London for SMEs. So it's really important that we cascade this learning and bring everyone up to speed so that they can make more informed decisions, be competitive, and protect their business resilience going forward. And Paolo, he's not here today, so I'll tell you a bit about Paolo. He is a carbon literate facilitator. His little company is called Agenium, and he has a background as a lecturer, and he even has a background as a submariner. So he has worked in the oil and gas industry, and he's also an FSB member, and a very capable trainer and facilitator of these conversations, and knows again how it relates to a small business. So still got clicks. Future Ready Business Training. It's in April. It's in Dundee. How do you get there? How do you sign up, register for it? So you can click on this link, and that will take you to our bookings page. It'll potentially answer any more questions that you have for the training, like how do I sort out my lunch that's included? If I have certain training requirements, like access requirements, how do I find the venue? What kind of content is included? We've got FAQs on the registration page. or you can message me directly and I'll help you to understand whether this is the right training for you. But really, my core message here is about being curious to this, taking some action, and sharing it with others. So this is what I do and what Paolo does. This is what this training is about, so that we can help you to increase your knowledge. Because like everything in life, it always starts with knowledge. Keep your business competitive so that you can really cascade that to your team, your profits, your stakeholders, and know in your heart of hearts that you are being part of the solution towards our climate and biodiversity crisis. If there's any more information that you need, please do contact me. I can be got on that email, or we can have an introductory 20-minute meeting. Please reach out so that we are all on the same page, so that we can understand whether this is the right training for your business now. And I really hope to see you in Aberdeen or Dundee. Bye.